The game live streaming space has such an interesting culture to it, and while we all agree that the streamers that have risen from obscurity to become borderline household names at this point is definitely interesting and worth exploring.
My name is Porcelain Maid, and this is my this is my chat. Chat, say hi. Chat, say hi. Say hi to YouTube. Hello, everyone. We're gonna do this again. You guys are bad at acting.
But what I have found most interesting as of late that not many other people seem to be talking about is the way games sort of rise and fall in and out of obscurity. Now, when we think of the biggest games of the year, we're almost always thinking about these massive AAA titles like Fortnite, Valorant, Overwatch, Apex, tons and tons of shooters. And if it's not a shooter, it's either a huge big budget title like League of Legends or Grand Theft Auto 5, or you get a game that maybe at one point was an indie game, but was very quickly swept up and purchased by a much larger corporation, such as in the case of Minecraft. If you only look at a surface level view of the online gaming space, it might seem like there's really no place for indie games. But as someone who has watched an unhealthy amount of Twitch and YouTube live streams, I can tell you there are so many interesting indie games that have been made on this absolutely microscopic scale by a tiny group of people with basically zero budget that have somehow managed to explode in popularity. These games that you would expect to languish in obscurity on the Steam store page just rise out of nowhere, absolutely take the streaming community by the throat for days, weeks, months, or sometimes even years, and then vanish without a trace, never to be seen again. And it is that rise and fall of these indie games that have captured my attention for years. I feel like every couple of months, some new indie game from a studio no one has ever heard of before is suddenly being played by every single streamer that I watch. And I really wanted to get into the nuts and bolts of what types of games manage to pop off and really analyze why games like this pop off. Now, my original idea for this video was to make a timeline of the different waves of indie games, like the Among Us era, the Doki Doki Literature Club era, the Getting Over It era. There's just, games that came and went in waves, but it was actually really hard to build a timeline for that because it's shockingly hard to find statistics for these games that go back more than a year. And you can't even look at the release dates of these games because when a game is released and when it skyrockets into popularity and when it dies off has absolutely no recognizable pattern at all. So instead, I'm going to group these games by category. And after looking at each category, I'm going to analyze why each of these categories works. And then I am going to, at the very end, give you a definitive reason for what makes an indie game made by one or just a couple of people with basically no budget absolutely go fucking viral. So if that sounds interesting, keep watching.
That's a problem. Oh boy.
So the first category I want to talk about are indie adventure games. These narrative-driven games that take you on a really interesting, story-driven journey that keeps viewers coming back stream after stream after stream because they're hooked on the plot and they want to know what happens next. And I'm going to treat this group a little bit differently than I treat the other groups, just because I think the stories and development behind some of these games are just so inherently interesting. And I feel like the very first game I'm going to mention is also the blueprint for what I'm trying to talk about in this video. The Binding of Isaac is a game where a working copy was made by two people as part of a week-long game jam. They completed this game in a mere 3 months, and the only outside help they needed was bringing on a composer.
Oh my god!
They made this game in their spare time with no expectations of sales. This is the epitome of nanoscale projects with zero budget, exploding in popularity through sheer quality and skill of the developers.
Oh no, no. Oh no, I'm gonna get so addicted to Binding of Isaac.
162 million in gross revenue, well earned. There's just something inherently captivating about tuning into a random stream about a game you've never heard of and seeing this really twisted, vaguely biblical story in this really unusual, low definition style. As soon as you click onto one of these streams, you immediately want to know what the hell is even happening.
What on earth?
And you might linger on that stream longer than you otherwise would, just because it's captivating to look at and very strange. And I think that strangeness is part of its success. And it really gives the streamer an opportunity to shine and really display their personality by the reactions they have to what's going on screen.
Yeah, Antichrist, let's go!
The next game I want to talk about in the adventure category is one that had, I feel, a completely different life cycle, and that is the Coffin of Andy and Leyley.
Now, this has been a video game that has received a tremendous amount of consideration, whether it be from psychos on Twitter, psychos on YouTube, or psychos on Twitch. There's a lot of psychos that have been very interested in this game.
Because unlike The Binding of Isaac, which I feel people kind of stumbled across, Andy and Leyley was one of those games that there was a massive amount of social media buzz long before the game ever finished development. I remember being on Twitter when this game was making the rounds, and everyone was absolutely enthralled by the fact that someone had made this creepy RPG Maker game about incest. I can't even tell you what the game is about because all anyone was talking about was incest game.
Oh, that was just a vision. It didn't actually happen. It's never gonna come to that, right? Well, never say never.
Oh, fuck you.
People were gearing up to play this game long before it actually even came out, just because of the incest gimmick. And what's funny to me is that incest wasn't even the point of the game, it was just one of the possible routes you could go through in this narrative. And also, sure there was incest, but how come nobody talks about the cannibalism?
Gather the libs up. There should be plenty enough room for them in our freezer. I'll stuff the torso and the head in his freezer for now. I'll go cook us something while you're at it. Andrew takes a bite out of your cooking. I don't think he likes it. He begins retching. No, you don't. Swallow. All of it.
I didn't see a single person mention the cannibalism in the game. Everyone was just totally enthralled by the incest bit. And in case you're not noticing a pattern very quickly developing, it's the fact that a lot of these games are very dark and twisted and have an interesting gimmick that gets you hooked. Like The Binding of Isaac has that sort of haunting, vaguely biblical, kind of gross feel. Andy and Leyley has an incest gimmick. You've got to have a little soundbite that can kind of go viral or catch people's attention. And this game also has a pretty interesting story because initially the development was done all by this person who I believe is named Nemley, and it was an RPG Maker game demo on itch.io, and they later sold the rights to Kit9 Studios.
It appears that the developer of the Coffin of Andy and Leyley has sold the game's title and terminated her entire online presence. And many people have reasonably assumed that this is the result of the torrent of harassment.
I think there's also, like, remember that one guy that made Flappy Bird back in the day, and like he just deleted all of his shit as well? It's kind of like overwhelming for a lot of people to just like have a really big success story like this, and then like all of the pressure that comes with. So like it probably wasn't just because of the doxing, because like, let's be fair, even before this, everybody was mad about this game because it had like incest, and apparently somebody else said it had cannibalism in it.
And I have to say, props to Nemley for being able to spin an RPG Maker game into a sellable product, largely because of the social media buzz you created around it. Next game I want to talk about is Hollow Knight.
This game is evil!
And I want to talk about this game because when I first saw it, I genuinely thought this was, while probably not a AAA game, definitely a AA game with a huge team of people and millions of dollars thrown into the art and composing. And while doing research for this video, I was actually shocked to find out that this was a game made by only 3 people. And much like what we heard about with The Binding of Isaac, this was also made during a game jam. Well, perhaps it's more accurate to say that it was conceived at a game jam, because it did actually take several years to finish the game. And I think part of the reason that this game is so incredibly polished to the point where it looks like a AA game is because this game not only took 3 years to release, but this is actually a Kickstarter game. This was crowd-funded, so there was massive hype for this game years before it was released. And I think the fact that you had huge fan support, crowdfunding, years to work on it, I think that's how this 3-person team was able to create something absolutely phenomenal. Now, when it comes to indie adventure games in the vein of Hollow Knight or Cuphead, it doesn't really strike me as all that unusual that these games took off. These games were popular because they were just visually interesting, extremely well executed games. It's genuinely impressive, the level of quality and the complexity of narrative and game design you can get from incredibly small teams of people. I really feel like indie studios are where heart and experimentation really lie. And I think the indie adventure game category is where this sort of content really shines through. And of course, we can't talk about adventure games without mentioning Undertale. Now, Undertale is probably one of the most video essayed games I've ever seen, so there isn't much new ground I can break in this video. And with such a great narrative, I really wouldn't want to spoil any major plot points anyway, so all I'm gonna say is Toby Fox is a genius. Now, while it's not too shocking for a well-executed game with a gripping story and great characters to take off, there's a genre of games that spiked in popularity and rapidly died in rapid succession that have always confused me. And that's this genre of what I can only describe as chill games. It's not all that intense, it's not all that narratively powerful, it's just kind of goofy and fun and relaxing and gives the streamer something to do while they talk to chat.
Keep on here. $2 every woman is trying to beat you. Don't trust them. They are! They're trying to entrap you! I've known women that do this shit! They do it to try. They want a baby and they want like a specific guy or whatever, and they'll be batshit crazy, and what they do is they have sex with the person, right? And they like poke holes in the condom, unironically, chat. Unironically. Or they take like the condom out of the trash bin and use it to inseminate themselves, chat. They're crazy! They'll ruin your life!
And I feel like these chill games hold a very special place in like Twitch and YouTube gaming history, because these are the games that basically become just chatting streams with a game in the background. And that's games like Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and
I have genuinely no idea why Power Wash Simulator got so popular. It's legitimately just shooting a stream of water at something dirty until it gets clean. Yet for some reason, this low poly, simple design game that I don't think it's even possible to fail at absolutely dominated the live streaming game space for way longer than makes any sense to me.
Oh, I didn't know it would be this satisfying. Holy God.
Another game that definitely allows the streamer to banter with their chat and take their time, but also while getting a very interesting and engaging narrative experience, is the Stanley Parable.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
Right.
Nor did it advance the story in any way.
Hey! If I want to lay my hands on everything in this office, I'm damn well sure gonna. Alright, fine, I'm gonna move on. But not because you told me to, because I want to!
The comedy in this game is top-notch, but it's also at such a slow and non-demanding pace, with really not much way to actually fail the game, that it's not very stressful, and it doesn't distract the streamer or force them to just go completely silent gamer mode the entire time. And I feel like chill games definitely benefit when there is that source of comedy and engagement. And I feel like that's perfectly demonstrated by Untitled Goose Game. You're just a goose and you just cause problems. That's all you do, cause problems.
Yes!
It is hilarious. It's very chill vibes. It's perfect for this list.
Close it. All the way. Oh, she's trapped in. She's like, let me out.
And it's also just this really simply designed indie game that anyone can kind of jump into halfway, watch a streamer goof around as a goose for a bit, and then move on with their life. It's very low intensity, low commitment, and it genuinely surprises me that games of this nature manage to get as successful as they are in a space where typically extremely intense and extremely competitive games usually reign supreme. And of course, I couldn't talk about chill games without mentioning the recent hit Suika Game.
Okay, Suika Game, let's get it. Okay, for people that don't know, Suika Game is a game that's like with like fruit and you drop the fruit. I don't know. It's like basically Kawaii 2048. So Suika Game is basically just like a container and then we got some fruit and that's kind of it. Okay.
At time of recording, it's January of 2024 and everybody I know is playing this damn fruit game. It's just, I don't get it. It's not even all that original of a concept. It's just lining up fruit with other fruit of the same type to make a bigger fruit. It's not all that deep. It should not have taken off, but I think its simplicity and chill vibes are probably the reason it did. And I think that really speaks to the capacity for a small team or even one or two people to make something that people will love, even if it's not the most gripping in terms of narrative or the most original of concept. If you have an idea, you can kind of just execute on it, and as long as there is a degree of polish to it, and you put a degree of effort into making sure the gameplay loop is smooth, people will come back to the game over and over and over again, to a game whose actual quantity of content and quantity of different experiences is shockingly limited.
Touch, please.
Okay. Holy shit. I've got such a good run going. I gotta be so careful here.
And this next category of games, I feel like all kind of sprang up one right after the other. And that is this concept of rage bait games.
I'm gonna fucking shoot up a woman! In Minecraft.
These are games which I feel were never intended to be fun for a player to enjoy. I feel like these were games that were targeting streamers specifically, because what's fun about a rage bait game is seeing your favorite streamer absolutely lose their shit in frustration. And of course, the pioneer in this space is Getting Over It. It's just a stupid, gimmicky game about a dude in a cauldron with the fucking sledgehammer trying to get over it, just trying to go up. It's super easy to just jump into the middle of a stream. What's the point of the game? Go up. What is he gonna do when he's done going up? He's gonna go up some more. And then the streamer is gonna make one tiny misstep, fuck up, fall all the way down, scream. It'll be hilarious. Once Getting Over It came out, we saw games like Jump King and Only Up rise up to fill the void after Getting Over It sort of fell out of favor.
Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm stupid! No!
I can't believe I just did that.
And tangenting off frustration bait games as something that I feel like is probably designed to target streamers for attention, we are going to swiftly move on to what I consider streamer bait games, where it's not just implied that this is probably for streamers. There were specifically streamers in mind when they made this. This game was made with the intention of baiting those streamers to play them.
Because I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. I don't want to go out. I don't want to get a proper job. I'm scared of other people. Adults piss me off and I'm stupid, but I still want everybody to fawn over me.
Now, the obvious examples that immediately come to my mind as a VTuber fan are games like Holocure and Idle Showdown, which are Hololive bait. They were tiny indie games that are not only extremely well executed, but more importantly, they include Hololive characters within their design. And of course, any Hololive member would love to play a game based on HoloLive VTubers.
But your starting fishing rod isn't very good, so you won't be able to catch every kind of fish just yet. But worry not, I have a bunch of better rods that I can sell you. Yeah, you should just give it to me or I'll stab you with this fork I have. Wait, what? What? Wait, what? No, I can't. What? Wait, the foresight. How did he know? How did he know I was gonna say that? Hello, can you hear me? Bloop, is it you? Open microphone.
It kind of just goes hand in hand. I mean, how could you not play a game specifically made for the company that you work for? It's kind of the perfect bait, to be completely honest. And I'm not using bait in a derogatory sense here. I mean, it is a very solid hook to get eyes on your game. And after, games like Holocure and Idle Showdown took off, I started seeing more generalized streamer bait games, like Needy Streamer Overload or Parasocial.
Screwdriver? Oh, I found it! What's good, bitch? Okay, wait, I'm pretty sure
which are literally games where the protagonist is a live streamer. And of course, a live streamer wants to play a game about a live streamer. And of course, we cannot talk about the game Parasocial, this horror game, without immediately tangenting into horror games. And I feel like horror games are definitely where indie games shine. Now, you have the obvious example of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Terrifying animatronic bear. Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game that you guys suggested en masse, and I saw that Yamimash played it, and he said it was really, really good. So I'm very eager to see what is up, and that is a terrifying animatronic bear. Family pizzeria looking for a security guard to work the night shift. This is like the most terrifying game I've ever played.
This super simple horror game that absolutely exploded to the point where it has now become a franchise with many, many games. It has spawned its own studio, and every game just sort of gets bigger and bigger in terms of development and budget. But despite the extreme fame and success of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's by no means the only indie horror game that absolutely dominated Twitch and YouTube during their heyday. In fact, one of the earliest examples that comes to mind is Slenderman.
What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm playing Slender for the PC. Let's do this shit. Collects all 8 pages.
This game was legitimately just a low poly, skinny dude hanging out in the distance, occasionally causing static on the screen, while the streamer would just walk around collecting notes. It was such a boring game with almost no content, but the fact that it had horror elements just took off. And I really do think the Slenderman game is one of the pioneers in this much greater trend of streamers finding budget horror games to react to. And there's just something unique about the horror concept that just works so well as a live stream game. It's not just the fact that you get to see your favorite streamer scream like a little girl, but it's also the oppressive atmosphere and the tension that really engages you and makes you want to watch more because you have no idea what's going to happen next.
The hell? That's not... Son of a bitch! What the fuck? What was that?
Remember what I said before? If you hear a noise in the fog, pray you don't fucking find out the source.
And this sort of indie horror game market has so immensely expanded. There are indie horror games that come out where they are basically still in beta test, where they are only in early access. They've got like one chapter out, and that one chapter goes viral. Examples that come to mind are Bendy and the Ink Machine or Poppy's Playtime. Holy shit! No. Okay. Holy shit, no. Legitimately, one chapter of an unfinished, unpolished indie horror game comes out, and it's all everybody is playing. And I really do feel like the fact that so many live streamers like to play indie horror games has sort of created an arms race of who can create a indie horror game for the least amount of money with the best and most interesting gimmick. Because a indie horror game with a great gimmick is very eye-catching. If you have a hilarious concept and you make it scary, it's gonna get the attention of streamers because it's extremely marketable. A game that comes to mind is Choo Choo Charles.
Yo, what is this thing? I swear to God. Man, Thomas the Train, like, I know they didn't reboot your new view for a new season, but you don't gotta get all fucking mad. Holy shit. Did he just murk the old man? Oh shit, he dead.
This game was already sold as soon as the gimmick was announced that it's about a train that's also a spider and eats people. People immediately ate that concept up. And almost every streamer I follow has played that game at some point. Just because it's so easy to market. Like, hey everybody, I'm gonna play the game about an evil spider train that eats people. And everyone laughs and goes, what are you talking about? That's a hilarious concept. There's no way that's gonna be scary. And then you play it and it's scary as shit.
Oh my God, he goes fast. Holy shit. Oh my God. Yo. Yo, Charles, listen, buddy. I know you failed the IT auditions, okay? I know you wanted to be Pennywise, but that's low-key not my fault, man. Okay, I'm not the casting director, and I can't fix the fact that you weren't good enough for the fucking part.
And this absolute insane popularity of low-budget indie horror games has led to some really genre-bending games like Doki Doki Literature Club.
Don't touch my shit! She then turns to a box. Oh, I thought it said she turns into a box of mango.
Help! I'm reducing!
That's where she goes every time she sinks. Like another part of her has become a manga.
Which starts out as this really cutesy, uninspired high school dating sim that we've seen countless of on the Steam page. You know this type of game where they're basically a glorified PowerPoint presentation with cute girls you can go on dates with and just sort of click through various dialogue options. Now, I have absolutely no idea why anyone would want to date a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm also aromantic and asexual, so I'm probably the worst person to comment on it. But the fact that this genre of games that I've always thought was stupid and lame and for losers became an experience that I thoroughly enjoyed as you unravel this horror mystery with so many twists and turns was so much fun. I genuinely enjoyed every plot twist. The game kept me absolutely hooked, and I did not see the ending coming at all.
Oh God, it's Clifford the Big Red Stab Wound.
Come on now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's just the power of the horror genre. If you don't include the artists and composers who worked on this game was effectively made entirely by one person and released for free, and then went on to become one of the most dominating presences in the live streaming space I've ever seen, because it's just genuinely so much fun to watch a streamer go through all these twists and turns, especially if they don't know in advance what these twists are gonna be and they actually catch them all by surprise.
Yo, this game sucks, bro!
1 hour later.
Are you ready? Yes. I'm just kidding. Man, this bitch, man! I can't do anything after all. This bitch lied. Ah, nigger, 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 nigger. Let me get my medicine.
I cannot believe Dan Salvato made such a compelling game and released it for free. This man could have made so much money. Now, the last category I want to talk about is probably one of the most platform-defining genres in live streaming, and that is these multiplayer and co-op games. Make even the most bare bones of well-executed games, they absolutely skyrocket as soon as people start playing them and they can get a decent enough player base. And that is the game Among Us.
100% that me, so who, and someone next to that guy, and now that guy is dead.
Me killed that guy for sure.
Who thinks who saw me?
Who you see them?
Who saw someone and who saw me? Maybe.
Myself.
Who not sure?
Me saw who? Me saw who?
Dude saw myself.
Me saw.
The entire reason I made this video in the first place was to try and wrap my head around this absolute phenomenon. When this game first came out, it was so simple and bare bones. It had one map and barely any gameplay. The entire game was just a series of kind of shit mini games. But what elevated this very simple game into stardom was the social multiplayer aspect. It's basically the game Mafia, but based on the movie The Thing. In fact, its app ID on the Apple Play Store was actually Space Mafia. They're wearing their inspiration on their sleeve. This game is absolutely the game of Mafia. And the thing is, the game of Mafia is just really fun to play. And by adding mini games to it, you've just taken an already great party game and made it even better.
Your crony is here? Ah!
It's Fana! I watched her kill Fana! Oh shit!
I knew it was Fana! I knew it! I knew it!
Watching a group of all of your favorite content creators all get into a Discord voice chat and lie and deceive each other and try to gaslight each other is honestly phenomenal content.
And we were all going up to comms, but then I see Flammable coming down from comms, ignoring the fact that comms
Wait,
is
why?
being
We have to
sabotaged.
do the bottom one first. We're just trying to do the tasks and...
What's the task you did? What's the task
we're
you
in
did?
the greenhouse.
Okay, but we're doing
Where you are?
It's the
Comms?
Yeah.
Why'd you came back down from comms even though comms is sabotaged all the way back down to the greenhouse?
Who are the cutest puppies? Who are?
Wow. Little liars.
Yeah, look at the little liars.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Stop
don't delay your death. It's
Yeah, it's inevitable.
it's time to go.
It's some of the best content I've seen in the live streamer space. People who you never thought had it in them to lie or gaslight are some of the most devious gaslighters in the industry.
Me, you, and Dumdog checked vitals at the same time, right? Me and Dumdog go to check on Train at cams. And Scotch is there. Dumdog goes in first. Scotch kills, doesn't realize I'm there. I report. Train wants to skip. That's crazy. But like, dude, Coop, don't do this. Don't throw this, please.
Well played, Apu.
Thanks.
And that really goes to show you how a simple concept with a great gimmick that is well executed can just absolutely explode. There's just something genuinely fun about party games, like for example Gartic Phone.
Is this Pokemon themed yet? Draw Ash's dad.
Oh my god.
Daddy's son turned into dust by dust wizard.
Is absolutely a party game. Taking a party game and making it a simple, cheap, low processor demanding Steam game is just a recipe for success. And if you don't have a party game to adapt, you can just do what Crab Game is and just steal the entire gimmick of Squid Game.
Oh my god, that was so close. Oh no, my teammates. It's just me versus the world. You can't catch me, I'm Donald Duck!
Just fully 100% rip it off, make it low poly, make it cheap, release it, bam, you sold 1 million copies. If you have an indie game that forces talented streamers to bounce off each other in funny and engaging ways, your game is gonna explode.
I'm gaming.
Don't! Why? Who killed me? Was it Vox?
I killed him. You gotta just next.
Oh my god.
Vox!
Even multiplayer games that I think are genuinely garbage and not fun in the slightest to play when I'm playing them myself with my friends or strangers on the internet are still made extremely entertaining when these games get into the hands of big streamers. The best example I can think of is Phasmophobia.
Can you at least function like a real mother for once?
Maybe it's dementia.
I'm gonna stick this flashlight up your ass.
Death before this collaboration.
Oh yeah, let's go film some. Let's go film some porn. Let's go.
Anna, are you okay?
I think Phasmophobia fucking sucks. It's a terrible game. I don't understand the point. You just kind of die at random. I don't think anyone fully understands the ins and outs of how you play this game. Also, the different ghost types don't make any sense and don't seem to make that big of a difference in terms of impact to the actual gameplay. What do you do in this game? It's stupid and I hate it. Why is this game so popular?
Small ass.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh my god.
Why is mommy singing? I think it's mommy.
Shut up, mom! Shut the fuck up, mom!
Now, for this multiplayer category, I'm fully eliminating games like Dead by Daylight and Rust because while they're still definitely solidly AA, and I don't have time to give them any special attention because then I'd have to include all the other AA multiplayer games and we would absolutely be here all day. Instead, I'm gonna wrap up this video talking about the most recent multiplayer game to absolutely dominate in the live streamer space. And that game is Lethal Company.
4 big guys, and they bust on my eyes. They eat my ass just like apple pie. If they keep me like this, I might just die. They pop my booty till I cry.
It is a multiplayer, horror-themed space game. It's got very simple graphics, it's very cheap, and it forces a group of people into interesting and engaging situations that allow them to banter off of each other. Lethal Company truly is the spiritual successor to Among Us, even though its core gameplay loop is completely different.
Help me! Say something! Help! Where am I going? I'm lost! I'm spun around too much!
Among Us truly is the game that inspired this video. It was the first time I was ever browsing Twitch and wondered aloud, this game sucks, why is everyone playing this game? And now that Lethal Company is popping off, and after watching a ton of streams, making this video and comparing Among Us to Lethal Company side by side has genuinely answered that question that I have had since 2018. And that is, how does a cheap game with barely any gameplay take Twitch by storm? And the answer is accessibility. That is the secret sauce to making a viral game that streamers will adopt en masse. In order to make a tiny game with barely any budget go viral, it needs to be accessible by as many streamers as possible. You want a game that has horror themes because horror themes are inherently captivating and engaging for an audience, but you don't want them to be too disgusting or revolting or off-putting because then you're going to chase away all the chill vibe streamers. You want the game to be multiplayer, but not just multiplayer. A multiplayer game that forces streamers to interact in fun and interesting ways. And lastly, and possibly most importantly for any low-budget indie game, you gotta have a marketable gimmick. Whether that's Mafia but in space, whether that's a dude going up a hill with a sledgehammer, whether that's an evil man-eating spider train, you gotta have a marketable gimmick that is gonna get people's attention. And this pattern of accessible, broadly appealing games has spawned off many fantastic games, so expect to see a lot more of that in the future, and reflect on past games and realize most of the ones that were successful followed that pattern as well. Do you agree or disagree that the recipe for success is accessibility, broad appeal, multiplayer gimmick? Is that the formula or not? Let me know in the comments down below. That's all I have to say. Bye, guys!